This video is brought to you by Sporlan, quality, integrity, and tradition. We've got a service call today that the beer walk-in is temping high in temp, and yeah, it's at 49. Let's see what the thermostat has to say. It's kind of hard to see, but that thermostat also says 48 degrees, so let's hop onto the roof. I don't know if it's calling or not, but that thing is in a wicked stupid place. I'll have to get a ladder to get over there too. Let's hop on the roof and see if we're calling at the moment. So this is my rack. First off, I bet you it's got a dirty condenser. I don't know if that's the only problem, but let's have a look. Oh yeah, it's a blanket. The whole condenser. Okay, this is my receiver. Let's gauge up on it and see if we're calling. I'm gonna eventually have to probably get a ladder over to that thermostat, but it's a nightmare to get up to it, so I'm gonna check up here first. This is my time clock. We're not in defrost. It does pretty much have the right time. It's off by like 15 minutes, but so we're not in defrost right now. This is a typical pump down system. So liquid line solenoid valve downstairs is controlled by the thermostat. When the box gets warm enough, which it's 48 degrees in there, the thermostat should be calling, opening the liquid line solenoid valve. Then the compressor turns on via the pressure control. So let's go ahead and gauge up and see if we have a high pressure on the low side. Doesn't feel like the compressor's running, but it's hot. It's really hot though. Well, we have 101 PSI on the low side, 247. And let's go to my compressor right here. 205 volts. Let's see if we've got three phase. 203 volts. 204 volts. Well, we have three phase power going to the compressor. We have 105 PSI or 101 PSI on the low side. That should be turning on the pressure control. The pressure control controls the compressor contactor. The compressor contactor sends the three phase power to the terminals, and the compressor hopefully is off on internal overload right now. More than likely because of the dirty condenser and the high temperatures right now. So what we need to do is turn off power, and we need to get the condenser cleaned and cool off this compressor and hope that the thermal overload potentially resets. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and get all my hoses and stuff and get everything up here and start cooling this thing off. We'll definitely be getting cleaner on this too, but I always start with a pre-rinse with just water. You guys know the shower wands, these things are awesome. Do all kinds of stuff with them. So I'm gonna do a pre-rinse, and then we'll get some cleaner on there, and then once we're done with that, then we'll put the cooling tool on top of the compressor. I try to leave these panels on this side on because the overflow just like hits the pressure controls and everything. The other side, there's a big trough, so it's not that big of a deal. So this rack is really, really bad. So I got the bulk of it off with the wand, and then now we're gonna put some cleaner, let it foam up. Also gotta clean that trough out. There's a giant trough up there, and it'll get plugged up to the point that it won't be able to drain anymore. And if you don't clean it, like I'm spraying water in it right now, if you don't clean it, the dirt will just dry up and suck right back on the condenser. Look at like just the mud that's coming out of there. So you gotta make sure this gets rinsed out as best as possible also. All right, this is the Viper Venom Pack. It's the brightener cleaner, okay? It's the strongest cleaner they have. Now, you cannot use that on a microchannel condenser. And you wanna be careful using it on tube and fin condensers too, because you leave it on there, you don't rinse it off, it'll start deteriorating the aluminum, right? Because just like it would on a microchannel. The scary thing about microchannel is the aluminum is what has the refrigerant in it, right? On this, it's the copper, but still, you don't want to destroy it. But for a customer like this that doesn't do normal routine maintenance, we don't really have a choice because, you know, we got to get this thing cleaned. So I'm using the Viper foam gun. I'm gonna set it on A, which is the lowest concentration, right? Or however you wanna say that. We're gonna use the least amount of cleaner. We're gonna spray it on there, see what it does. If we have to, we'll probably turn it up a little bit, maybe to B or C. It explains everything on the back, the proper mixtures and dilution ratios and all that stuff on here. So A is 80 to 1, E is 5 to 1, you can see. So we're gonna go ahead and get this rinsed off. Big picture stuff here. I'm not just gonna rinse the one that's a problem. We're gonna rinse everything. All I'm gonna do is just let this stuff sit on there. Let it get all the way through the coil. Be careful not to get it in the motor, okay? Let it get all the way through the coil, and then let it sit for maybe a minute, 30 seconds, something like that. And then we'll give it a rinse, and we're gonna do the same all the way around. I ended up putting it on the C setting also, getting a little foamy, right? Come down in here, it's dripping down with the foam coming through, so it's about time to rinse. So let's go to town and get this all cleaned out. It's looking much better. Still a little bit of stuff in there, but nothing like it was. So I'm gonna keep rinsing, get some of the big chunks that are still in there, and then rinse out this trough, and then we'll get the compressor cooling. We'll check the compressor to see if it reset yet. We'll probably got to get the cooling tool on it because it was just ridiculously overheating. Got a bunch of people asking me in like a clip that I did about this tool. So here's the story. This dude made this tool. I found him on Instagram, okay? I bought it from him direct. Then he made a deal with Subco. So now it's distributed. It might even be owned by Subco now. Subco calls it the compressor tool. I bought it when it was just a guy trying to sell them. But regardless, it has a magnet, but it keeps the thing away from the top of the compressor, so that way the water can just trickle down over the compressor. Mine has a valve on it. I don't think they come with the valve anymore. Again, that's just the you know, Subco. They're probably trying to cut corners or shave money off, whatever, regardless. But you can get these little valves from like Home Depot or whatever. You can pick one up from TrueTechTools.com. I have an affiliate program set up with them. If you use my offer code BIGPICTURE, one word, you can get an 8% discount on majority of the items, and then I get a small commission from it. It's a great way to help support the channel. But yeah, it's a pretty cool tool, really awesome. I do not know the gentleman's name that made it, but he deserves a lot of credit because that thing's really awesome. Instead of just trying to hold a hose over the compressor, it just sits there and trickles the water over, and you can control whatever you want, and you can see it just nice and cool, cools off the compressor. So it's a cool little tool. Trying to rinse the rack out. My vacuum broke. I brought my vacuum up, but it's over there broken for some reason. So look at all the dirt that's coming out of it though. Like, and the drain's overflowing over there. Like, this is crazy. Lack of maintenance, right? But I'm trying to clean the roof off as best as possible, rinse out the rack as best as possible. I'm gonna put the panels on and start it up in just a few minutes. I like to give it a little bit of time to dry. All right, let's see if this thing blows up, huh? Condenser fan motors are on. Go ahead and turn on all the different compressors. We're not going to overload anything. We'll give it a second. Here comes the big one. Sounded like it started. And yes, we are running. Cold suction, hot discharge. We're gonna watch this guy operate for a bit, give it a few minutes. The sight glasses on every one of these should clear up. They should all be running too, because I've had the rack off for about 45 minutes. So we're gonna watch it operate for a bit. You know, this equipment can only take so much abuse. We got a nice cold suction line. It's just absorbing some heat down inside that box right now. Sight glass, nice and clear. Got a nice big Sportland seat all right there. Got about a 30-degree suction saturation temp. It's to be expected. 113-degree saturation on the discharge, the condensing side. Condenser's probably still a little bit wet too, so. But yeah, this equipment can only take so much of this abuse. This compressor was changed in 22, and then probably changed, if I had to guess, 3 years previous to that. They just beat it up, not maintaining it. You know what I mean, Vern? Looking a lot better. 37 degrees in here, so it's pretty good. You know, the crappy thing is they're gonna lose another compressor if they keep doing this, and they will, and it'll end up being my problem on a Friday night. It's typical, right?
So it only lasted about a week, okay? System operated perfectly, no issues. About a week later, week and a half later, We got another service call, sent a different service technician out there because I was off. Sure enough, bad compressor. Compressor was internally bypassing. He cooled the compressor off again. The condenser really wasn't dirty, but he cleaned the condenser, just made sure, cooled it down, started it back up, and the internal bypass was going off on the compressor, not allowing it basically to function and cool the box properly. We ended up having to change the compressor. So they got 2 years out of this one. Like, it's just crazy, but it's just, to me, it feels wrong changing compressors this often, but the customer, that's what they want, I guess. I could only do so much. And, to everybody out there saying, demand that my customers do routine maintenance, you can't do that. These are giant corporations. They're not listening to someone like me, okay? And if I make a stand and say that I'm not going to do their work if they don't do maintenance, they're going to find someone else like that to do the work. So it's just one of those things. It's not that big of a deal. It's kind of a frustration at times, but you know what? I'm thankful I have the work. I'm thankful they continue to call me, because if they don't call me, they're going to call someone else. I don't know what it is about these live streams that make me, these ending words, credits, whatever, they make me yawn, but you're welcome if I made you yawn too. All right. So the first, I went out there, I found it was plugged up condenser, cleaned it as best as possible, got it cooling, got the equipment back up and running. And, I called it, it's only going to last so long. And then, like I said, we had another one go bad too. So, but all has been well since, all was well for about a week and a half, and then compressor failed. We changed the compressor. It's now been about another week and a half and no other issues, but that rack gets really dirty. And that condenser needs to be cleaned on that rack in this summertime with this heat and with all the stuff that's around that facility, that building. They have a lot of construction materials and stuff because of, I'm not going to reveal the location, but because of the location, they have a lot of issues with those condensers getting dirty. They really need to be cleaned every 45 days. And even at that, they're going to be pretty dirty at 45 days. So I try to make it a habit for these customers, even if they're not doing, consistent enough routine maintenance, because this one is doing maintenance, just not as often as they should. What I try to do is if I'm there doing something else, if I have an opportunity to go on the roof, I'll usually hose some things off. So today I was at another location working on the roof, working on ice machines, and I had to clean the condenser on the ice machine. And I'm like, well, you know what? I might as well. I walked over to the refrigeration rack, cleaned the refrigeration rack too while I was up there, rinsed off a few of the ACs that looked dirty too, trying to eliminate some future headaches. On the flip side, it also, I start to realize when I do that kind of stuff, it makes the customer think that their routine maintenance program is working, every quarterly or whatever. Like, oh, it's doing great because the breakdowns aren't as much, because when I'm out there doing other things, I clean the equipment up. But at the same time, in a way you want them to learn their lesson. But then on the flip side, I'm the person that has to be out there when it's broken at 9 o'clock at night and changing a compressor. So if I can eliminate a headache of a service call because I'm already there, whatever, I'm just going to jump on the roof. It's not like I'm not getting paid. I'm getting paid. I was there working on the ice machine. I spent 10 minutes on the same ticket, walking over to the rack, rinsing it off, making sure that it was clean. So that's the way that I do things, not saying that everybody else has to do it that way. Regardless, I appreciate you making it to the end. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel, leaving some feedback down in the comments. You got any questions, shoot me an email, hvacrvideos@gmail.com. There's a couple different ways to support this channel if you're interested in doing so. The easiest way is literally just watch these videos from beginning to end. If you're watching the closing words, you made it to the end, okay? A couple other ways to support the channel: PayPal, Patreon, YouTube channel memberships. Those are all monthly commitments you can make. There's links in the show notes of the video. Last but not least, there's two other things. TrueTechTools.com. I mentioned it in the video. If you're looking at purchasing any tools, you can go to, oh, good gosh. You can go to TrueTechTools.com, use my offer code BIGPICTURE, one word, at checkout. You can get an 8% discount on majority of the items on their website. There's a few things it doesn't apply to. When you use that offer code, it's an affiliate link. or yeah, I get an affiliate commission. I guess it's not an affiliate link, but anyways, whenever you use it, I get a small commission from that purchase too. So not only do you get a discount, I get a small commission. Last but not least, you can go to my website, hvacrvideos.com, where we have hats like this one. We have flat bill hats, dad hats that are more slouchy, relaxed, you know, for people with really short foreheads. I am not blessed with a short forehead, so this hat would not work for me. I need a giant hat because my head is monstrous, right? Yeah, hvacrvideos.com. That's where the hats are at. Other t-shirts, beanies, all that good stuff, stickers. Again, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate you. Stay hydrated. You know, it's crazy right now. Take care of yourself. I'm talking to myself more than I'm talking to you guys, but I guess you guys benefit from that too. I have to remind myself all the time to eat lunch because I just power through lunch like I'm a superhero, and then I pay for it at the end of the day. Don't be like me, okay? Take care of your body. Eat regularly. Get in all the nutrients you need. Keep all the fluids in that you need, so that way you can go home to your family and you're not broken like me at the end of the day. Again, thank you very much. I really do appreciate you, and we will catch you on the next one.